Selected markets. Restrictions apply. Same day expected with entry close to final destination.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Granger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done. Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead. With Fidelity Income Planning, we'll look at what you saved, what you'll need, and build a straightforward plan to generate income, even when you're not working. A plan that gives you the chance to grow your savings and create cash flow that lasts. Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan at any time without the unnecessary fees. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services number NYSE SIPC.
Do you have an opinion? Of course you do. Call the D Las Vegas 97.1 The Ticket Studio line at 248-539-9797. The D Las Vegas, the home of Detroit sports in Vegas.
Necessary Roughness with former NFL lineman TJ Lang and John Jensen. Download it today on the Odyssey app. Every dollar helps. Make your donation to Detroit Pal now at 313-880-4PAL, 313-880-4725, or online at DetroitPal.org/step-up. It's the Detroit Pal Step Up to the Plate Radiothon on 97.1 The Ticket, live from the Jamie Samuelson studio. Here's Stoney and Jansen.
Yeah, we encourage you to dial that number that you just heard, 313-888-4PAL, the Pal Radiothon going on. And look, Police Athletic League has done amazing things around here. Just ask people like, I don't know, Jalen Rhodes, Chris Webber, Larry Foote, Brandon Graham, Jamel Hill, Eric Coleman, just, example of the people that have benefited from the Police Athletic League and what they do, leadership, education. So let's raise some money for that today. Our telephone number, 248-539-9797. We're asking, if you're at the Miguel Cabrera deal, or even if you weren't, what you thought, what was your reaction when he finally, look, we knew he was going to do it, and that didn't take away anything at all for me. I mean, whether it was going to be, Saturday or Sunday, barring any crazy injury.
Right, he was going to get it. It was just a matter of time.
And it was just great that it happened at home on a beautiful day for baseball where the park was, crowded. It was kind of, I was there on, Wednesday night when he got hit in his first three. And you know what? If he would have gotten it then, it would have been great I was there. But the place was like, 15,000. It wasn't even that, if that.
The build-up was outstanding.
It worked perfectly. It really did. It was beautiful. For me, it was, don't take this the wrong way, but it was the best day in Detroit sports, really, since the Ohio State game, at least for me when I was there. Now obviously our audience and the people who don't like Michigan would say that, but that was one of the coolest things I've ever been.
Well, that's why it goes before that.
Okay.
Because that's a personal thing for us, because Michigan, it's Blue Ball Radio.
Yeah, exactly. Well, other than that, look, we've had championships. I think maybe the 97. I wrote down two others. One, we were all excited, but it doesn't count. When this is won the lottery. Everybody was going crazy.
Yeah.
And the other one for me is not championship. The last day at Tiger Stadium. It was sad, but it was. So
I think that was better than this, but at the same time, I thought it was perfect. If you want to nitpick a part of me,
it was amazing.
If he hits a home run, that makes it more perfect.
Right. I would go back to, I don't disagree with any of them, other than the fact that you go back to something that was a build-up, and then the payoff was there. Maglio Ordonez. I'd go back that far.
That was. I was there as well too. Yeah.
That's 2006, and I know that's 16 years, but the build-up of the series, the build-up of the game, and then all of a sudden to have a walk-off in that moment.
That was right there. No doubt. 97 Cubs. Saturday night was unbelievable. All right, 248-539-9797. Let's check out the news.
Alright, you guys, I'm sure you saw this go down, an altercation between the Cleveland Guardians outfield and fans in the stands at Yankee Stadium really overshadowed the New York Yankees 5-4 walk-off win on Saturday. So fans that were sitting in the right field bleachers, they responded to that game-winning hit by pelting Guardians outfielders with just trash, like bottles, cans, anything really, throwing it down onto the field. I did not see the game, but I guess tensions were kind of high before that moment. One of the Guardians outfielders hit the wall pretty hard. He was chasing the ball. He was down there, seen by a trainer, and I guess fans were yelling some things to him while he was down on the field. And another player, Miles Straw, kind of got involved with fans, like climbed the fence to talk to fans one-on-one. And then, like I said, after that, the trash was thrown, and both teams basically condemned what just happened. You know, fans should never have anything.
Oh, yeah, the Yankee players went out.
Yeah. Pretty crazy indeed. Matthew Stafford and Kelly Stafford were back in Detroit over the weekend to attend the groundbreaking ceremony of this expansion to the Say Detroit Play Center. So Say Detroit is an after-school program for students ages 8 to 18 years old, and this expansion is going to have a new education center, and it's going to be named the Kelly and Matthew Stafford and Friends Education Center. They donated a ton of money, and during this ceremony, they were both there. They both said a few things. Kelly talked about how great it was to be back in Detroit.
I mean, you spend 12 years here, you get to know the people here, you want to invest in a place like this. Like I said up there, the hearts of these people there's no match to it. And we've been a lot of places in our life now. So it just feels right to invest in our home, and this is our home.
We'll see how quick they move back.
Well, she did mention something like that as well during the ceremony. You heard she said that when his contract is up with the Rams, he's coming back to play for the Lions. And people laughed at that, but she did make the statement. So. You guys, you probably know this. Ticks to me are the nastiest bugs. They freak me out. I mean, I've had a tick, but I would probably, if my husband were not home to remove it, I would be driving myself to like the ER. Like that's how much I freak out over ticks. And I've got some bad news for anyone else who is maybe like me, because they are expected to be even worse here in Michigan this summer. In fact, they say we can expect to see more ticks each year. So they're going to progressively get worse and worse and worse and worse. So basically, experts are saying that if weather conditions are conducive each year from now, they're going to get worse because they've really become established in several places in Michigan, and then those little mini populations are just going to continue to produce and reproduce and grow and get bigger, which is nasty. And of course, the fear is that you're going to maybe contract
Lyme disease.
or an illness like Lyme disease and other things. There's also, did you know that the Lone Star tick, John, can cause a person to become allergic to red meat?
Oh my goodness! Now I'm scared.
We should
Check.
check Doug for ticks.
Yeah. He may have had one 20 years ago.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know
Anyways,
that.
yeah, I know. So watch out. There's a lot of things you can do to avoid that, but they're nasty. So just be careful. Avoid be careful in the wooded areas, the long grass areas. You can wear some insect repellent and long pants, light colored, so you can see them. Of course, long sleeves if you're going to be out like hiking or out in the woods, really.
Yeah.
But and your poor little dogs too. Look out for them.
Yeah,
They can
they'll
be
be all right.
Yeah. The Detroit Riverwalk is the best in America again. For the second year in a row, USA Today has named the Detroit Riverwalk the best. So a spokesperson for the Riverwalk says that obviously they are thrilled to be voted #1 again, and they're proud to be recognized again on this national level. And USA Today described the Riverwalk as one of the city's most exciting initiatives. So it was voted for by the public. So it wasn't voted for by the people there. They nominated specific Riverwalks, and then the public could vote on the best. So
That's awesome.
there you have it.
Way to
Yeah,
go.
it's awesome.
Right here.
All right, thank you very much, Heather. Coming up later in the program, we'll check in on the Tigers, the rest of the weekend, also your favorite Mickey moments. Coming up next, Greg Cosell. He was with us in the 9 o'clock hour on Friday. He'll help you get ready for the NFL draft. 97.1.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook.
Ken Barkley for Nick Costos. Never too early to start thinking about football season. Tons of betting markets are already open as we try to figure out how each team will perform in the fall. Let's check out the win total market and specifically Philadelphia. I like under 8.5 wins. I know when you think about Philly, you think, hey, young quarterback, young coach, made the playoffs last year. This is a team on the way up. My problem is that they were only able to beat bad teams last year. Basically, their entire record was built on the backs of teams that didn't make the playoffs. Typically, that isn't the sign of a great team, just a team with an advantageous schedule. I still have a lot of questions about the quarterback, and the division should be much better. I'll take under 8.5 wins.
That's Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook. Check out the latest lines today at BetRivers.com. I'm Nick Costos. Keep it locked here for more throughout the day. Must be 21, playable in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
If you're looking for a certified pre-owned vehicle, look no further. Hi, friend. Phil Gelling here for Gelling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Each C5 is given a 172-point inspection. If it doesn't pass muster, we won't sell it. And everyone is also backed by 2 GM limited warranties, one of which covers the powertrain for 6 years, 100,000 miles with 0 deductible. Plus, they also cover roadside assistance, alternate transportation, 2 scheduled maintenance, and more. We have a good selection to choose from. That's Gelling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Learn more online at GollingBG.com.
If you're a small business, there are lots of choices when it comes to your internet and technology needs. But when you choose Comcast Business Internet, you choose the largest, fastest, reliable network. You choose advanced security for total peace of mind. And you choose fiber solutions with speeds up to 10 gigs available to more small businesses than any other provider. That's virtually everywhere we serve. The choice is clear. Get unbeatable business solutions from the most innovative company. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and advanced security for $60 a month for 24 months with a 2-year agreement. And now with more speed to help keep all your connected devices running. Call or go online today to learn more. Offer ends 6/21/22. Requires Eco Bill and auto pay. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment, installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Most innovative based on American Business 2021 Gold Stevie. Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible plan for cash flow designed to last, so you can go from saving to living. Fidelity Banking Services member NYSE SIPC.
Starting a garden. It's kind of like starting a family. You care for it, watch it grow, and if you get the right brands like Bonnie Plants Harvest Select, you watch it grow a lot. You start to feel a real bond with your plant family. Just don't name them because they're gonna be delicious. Get help donating your surplus to local food banks from the Home Depot and ampleharvest.org. It feels like spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
DQ presents. Picture this. You stand before the awe-inspiring new signature stack burger menu with DQ, and your mouth wonders, where have you been all my life? That's 5 taste bud tempting cheeseburgers with 100% real seasoned beef. You can get the loaded A1 stack burger with 2 premium sauces. Then the flamethrower stack burger with tongue-tingling jalapeno bacon. Then you realize, well, these are exactly why we have the DQ signature stack burger menu.
I'm praying to keep my fingers crossed.
It tastes good. Get it delivered at DQ.
I don't know about these cleanup lists. But don't worry about it.
Do what we have to do.
Do what we have to do anyway. Cool. Fair enough.
We're doing
was hoping.
No, I don't. We're just gonna get into your evaluation.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping for.
Most people think it's going to come down to one of the three defensive linemen, or Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, Kayvon Thibodeau of Oregon, or Trayvon Walker from Georgia. Of those three, who's the best and why?
Well, I think they're different, so it depends what you like. I mean, Trayvon Walker is a very intriguing guy because he's essentially a multi-position player. So if you're thinking of him as an edge pass rusher, that's something that you're sort of projecting. Now you're looking at his measurables and believing he can do that because of his size and his arm length. But he did not do a ton of that at Georgia. They moved him around quite a bit. He played inside a lot where he was really good. So if you draft him with the idea that he is simply going to be an edge player, it's a projection. Could he well do it and be very good at it? Yes, but that's a bit of a projection. I think Hutchinson, and I hate to use these terms because everybody uses them, I think Hutchinson is relatively safe. I think he's a solid player. I think that he does what you
That's
like
the deal.
from the defensive end position. He's got the sort of hands, hips, feet profile. He's very well coordinated. He finishes when he gets there. I think what really stood out to me about him, which you rarely see from college players, is he had a plan every week for who he was playing against. So he just didn't line up and play. He had an approach and a plan, and that's pretty rare for a college player. Thibodeau has great get off. He's powerful. He's a little lower body stiff. He doesn't flatten his pass as well as you would ultimately like. In some ways, Thibodeau reminded me at times of a Jadeveon Clowney, who's actually had his most success in the league moving inside and rushing the quarterback, which Thibodeau did at Oregon as well. But Thibodeau's game is built on get-off and power much more than bend and flexibility.
One thing I want to ask about with Thibodeau and Hutchinson. Thibodeau's been criticized for the way he played against Utah in those two games. Hutchinson criticized by some for how he played against Georgia. Are either of those criticisms fair?
Well, I don't know what the criticism is. You mean that they played poorly?
Yes.
Nah, you know what? I tend to watch a lot of plays and a lot of tape, and those things don't really stand out to me. Look, I've watched defensive linemen, and you can look at a stat sheet and see that a defensive tackle has one tackle, and then you put the tape on and he dominated the game. So those kinds of things don't really stand out to me. So I don't really know where to go with that.
Well, we had a local sports writer include another individual being taken number 2 overall for the Detroit Lions, an edge rusher in Jermaine Johnson. There's another guy that I'm very curious as to where you have him ranked in terms of edge rushers or defensive ends. That's George Karlaftis out of Purdue. Can you tell us a little bit about both those guys and where they fall in the hierarchy?
Yeah, I really like Jermaine Johnson's tape a lot, and it wouldn't surprise me if down the road he becomes the best edge rusher in this group. He's long, he's wiry. I think that he has some work to do. He's not a true bender, but he can bend. There's a power element to his game. He plays stronger than what his build looks like since he is so wiry. He has what you look for. He's got great arm length. He's got natural quickness. I really like Jermaine Johnson's game. Plus, for whatever it's worth, he plays the run exceptionally well. He had some dominating reps versus North Carolina State left tackle Iguanu, and that really stood out to me. Then you talk about Karlaftis. Karlaftis is fascinating to me because he's so upper body and hand and arm strong. He was a shot putter in high school. His lower body doesn't quite support. He doesn't have a whole lot of lower body flexibility, and while he can look spectacular with his upper body strength and his arms, there were times watching his tape where he would do something great with his upper body, and then his lower body just stopped, his feet stopped. So, I think he'll be a good player. There's a part of me that thinks that he might even be better moving inside, and he might be more effective there. And he'll make plays because of effort, hustle, and all that counts, by the way, John, as you well know. I'm not saying that that's not a factor. But I think if you're just looking at pure pass rush traits, I think his lower body would prevent him from being a dominant edge player.
Let's talk about the secondary. Gardner and Stingley Jr. are the ones that have been mentioned. Obviously, Stingley coming off an injury. Of those two, who do you like better?
I really like Gardner a lot. Stingley's probably a little more sudden and a little more purely explosive when he's at his best. And he's got great ball production, Stingley. That's his game. He's got great ball skills. But Gardner is a true press man corner. He's long with incredibly long arms. He plays both kinds of press man, what we call mirror match press man, where you allow the receiver to declare and then you just get in his hip pocket, and then he can play physical press man as well, where you jam him. He's very good at that. He's a very aggravating player for receivers. Now, he plays a boundary corner in Cincinnati, and as you guys know, in college football, the boundary is much smaller than it is in the NFL. So he essentially played zero man, because they didn't really play anybody over the top of him that often. So I really like the way he plays, and no one ran away from him. You'd see crossing routes, no one ran away from Gardner. Stingley, as I said, he's probably a little more sudden, a little more purely explosive. He can certainly play press, and that ball production, there will be people who just absolutely love that, because that's, hey, you want to turn it over if you're the defense.
Well, let's keep it in the same realm with Kyle Hamilton. I think he's got great potential. A lot of people did not see him play because he got hurt about halfway through, a little bit more than half, a little earlier than halfway in last year's season. But height, size, now there's a question about his speed, but when I turn the film on, he's still making plays.
Oh, yeah. I think the speed, first of all, stride length is a trait. And people don't think about that. I had to learn that the hard way when it came to receivers years and years ago, because, big receivers, their strides are longer. Hamilton is 6'4" and an 8". He covers an awful lot of ground in a heartbeat. So stride length is a trait. He obviously can do everything you want a safety to do, and I personally believe the safety position has become so much more important. And I think the teams that don't recognize that fall short. Years ago, people said you can get a safety anywhere. I think the way that NFL offenses have evolved, the safety position is an extremely important position for NFL defense. And I think Hamilton he can do everything you want a safety to do. I thought watching him, that there's a comparison to be made with someone like Derwin James in terms of deployment within an NFL defense. James is probably a little twitchier, probably more short area sudden, whereas Hamilton is probably more straight line fluid with more range. But I think it's the way they can be deployed within an NFL defense. You can ask them to do pretty much anything, and they can do it.
Greg Cosell joins us on the Stoney and Jansen program. All right, let's go to the other side of the ball. Quarterbacks obviously get the most notoriety. Some people believe Malik Willis, the Lions, should take him at 2. I don't, but you've seen a hell of a lot more tape than we have. Well, how do you evaluate this quarterback class, which some people say 4 quarterbacks taken first round, some say none?
Well, no, there'll be quarterbacks taken, Stoney. There always are. That's just the way it works. You know that.
Yeah.
Malik Willis is fascinating because he's got a huge arm. He can run fast. He can make second reaction plays, which a lot of people feel strongly about right now in today's NFL, that you have to be able to do that. So then what's the balance between what a player did in college in terms of the offense he ran, which was probably relatively remedial by NFL standards, and then what he has to learn in the NFL. So what is the balance there? How do people feel about that? I've seen people compare him to Josh Allen in terms of the fact that Allen came in and people viewed him as extremely raw and inaccurate for the most part, and look at Josh Allen now. So the feeling is Malik Willis has the chance to be special in people's minds, because he has the ability to throw the ball really well. He's got great velocity, and he can make second reaction plays. Someone like Kenny Pickett, to me, I would view him as the best prospect right now. I think you can line him up and play today, but the feeling with him is that there's no special traits. And so is he the guy? Because here's the way teams think, is he going to be a second contract quarterback? Let's say you draft him and you can line up and play with him and he can run your offense, but, is he essentially is he essentially Jared Goff? Let's put it that way. Taking nothing away from Goff, but I don't think anybody would say Goff is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And even though he was a number 1 pick in a draft, he's not that guy. So, I think there's a feeling that Pickett could be that kind of player, someone you could certainly line up and play with. And if you've got enough team around him, hey, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. So if you have enough team around him, you can play and you can win games. I'm not sure where I fall in Willis. I think he's got a lot of things that need to be worked on. Can they be worked on? Yes, but you just don't know. It becomes a major projection.
Later in the first round, a lot of these mocks have Desmond Ridder moving up the board. Sam Howell has been mocked to the Lions. What do you think about the next wave of quarterbacks?
Well, John, I think it all comes down to me, and you played. I think it comes down to coaching and team, because all these guys have some strengths, and they all have really defined flaws or weaknesses in their games right now. So the question becomes, as a coach, what do you think is truly fixable? And even if you feel you can fix it and coach it, does that get translated on the field? I'm sure in your career, John, you saw guys that they could sit in the meeting room and everything was great. They could do it on the field in a walkthrough, but then when in the game on Sunday, it just didn't happen the way it's supposed to happen. So that's one of the things you never know. So that's why this quarterback class is not being talked about as a great quarterback class, because the tape tells you that there's defined flaws / weaknesses in all of these quarterbacks. And no one is seeing the guy with, I guess Willis is the exception, because people think of, the big arm and the second reaction ability people get excited about, as they should. But they all have flaws. So it comes down to where they go, who coaches them, what's around them, so many other variables that it's hard to put them in a vacuum. You can look at their traits in a vacuum, but the other stuff is important.
Greg, we thank you very much for your time. I'll watch you on NFL Matchup on ESPN and talk to you down the road. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Greg Cosell, ESPN NFL Films. Man, does he know what the hell he's talking about? 97 the tape. All right, coming up next, Peter King unveiled this morning what he thinks should happen. There's never been a better time to find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Download the BetMGM app and place a $10 moneyline wager on any NBA playoff game. If either team hits a three-pointer in the game, you'll win $200 in free bets. Just use the code STONY200 when you make your first bet. Sign up now and discover BetMGM's boosted odds, specials, daily promotions, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use the code STONY200 to win $200 if either team hits a 3 in any NBA playoff game. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan-only new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
This report brought to you by Penske Logistics. A look at the drive this morning picked up a new problem. 96 Jeffries eastbound at Livernois. A minor accident is blocking that left shoulder. Also, things are starting to pick up in the 75 work zone, heading southbound, approaching 14 Mile. Penske Logistics has openings for warehouse associates in Romulus. Earn $21.05 to $22.05 an hour, plus up to $6 an hour incentive pay, and receive a $1,500 sign-on bonus. Penske will train on the job. Search Penske.jobs. Penske is an equal opportunity employer. I'm Michelle Pena with traffic.
Sports betting updates for pivotal games as they happen live. Get the latest on in-game prop bets, DFS, and more. Bet MGM tonight. Weeknights 7 to 11 on the Bet 1270 and the Odyssey app.
Email. Yeah.
Is that across the street?
I would think, but I'm not 100% sure. gotta be back. It's gotta be back here somewhere.
Put in Ashton and Curtis Street.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton, Curtis.
Starting route to
Got
Curtis
it.
Street and Ashton Avenue.
Alright, let's try it.
Yeah, we could
Proceed
try
to
it.
West Outer Drive, then turn right. Turn right onto West Outer Drive, then turn left onto Southfield Freeway Frontage Road. Go past this light, then at the next one, turn left onto Southfield Freeway Frontage Road. Turn left.
What's he doing?
At the next light, turn left. Arrive at Curtis Street and Ashton Avenue. Arrive.